Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the quietest sound you've ever heard, a silence so vast it feels alive. Now stretch that silence across the universe itself. Between galaxies, beyond the light of stars, there is something no telescope can quite see, yet its fingerprints are everywhere. Scientists call it dark energy, not because it is evil, but because it hides in mystery, a presence that shapes the very breath of the cosmos. It is silent, it is invisible, and it is powerful beyond measure. Tonight, we drift into that silence together. A journey through starlight stretched thin, galaxies drifting apart, and a force that seems to whisper from the void. A force that rules more of the universe than all the stars, planets, and galaxies combined. Dark energy does not roar. It does not glow. It does not announce itself. And yet, it is the quiet ruler of cosmic fate. Let us walk slowly into this mystery, with gentle steps, with open hearts, and with the comfort of knowing that even silence has a story to tell. The hush that lives between galaxies. When we look into the night sky, the stars dazzle our eyes, but they are only pinpricks on a dark canvas. That canvas, the space between them, is not empty. It is filled with a hush, a silence that carries weight. Galaxies float in that silence like lanterns on a black ocean, each one adrift, surrounded by something unseen, and yet deeply present. It is in that hush that dark energy hides. You might think of silence as absence, but here it is the opposite. This silence does not rest, it acts. It pushes galaxies away from each other, stretching the universe wider and wider. The hush is not passive, it is powerful. Like a gentle tide, it is moving everything we know farther apart. Even now, as you listen, that silent expansion continues, steady and unstoppable. Astronomers once believed the universe might slow down, that gravity would eventually pull everything back together. But instead, the hush grew louder in its own strange way. The spaces between galaxies did not shrink, they widened, and so the silent presence between galaxies revealed itself not by showing, but by stretching. In that stretching, in that quiet pressure, lies the first clue, a force that does not shine or bend like matter. It does not flicker like light. And yet, its silent push is stronger than all the stars combined. It is as if the darkness itself carries an unseen breath, gently expanding the universe outward, whisper by whisper. This hush that lives between galaxies is not empty space. It is a stage, a hidden ocean where unseen tides move the future of the cosmos, and we, tiny beings on a pale blue dot, are carried along by that silent swell, whether we notice it or not. A universe that expands in whispers. Think of the universe as a balloon slowly filling with air. At first, the expansion was expected, like a gentle inhale, but then something strange happened. The balloon didn't just expand, it began to swell faster, not with a roar, but with whispers, with a subtle acceleration that scientists never anticipated. The galaxies, once thought to slow their dance, began drifting apart at a pace that increased over time. It was as though some unseen hand was guiding them outward, urging the fabric of space itself to stretch more quickly. A whisper carried across billions of light years, quiet yet undeniable, pulling everything apart. Imagine two boats floating on a calm sea. At first, the current drifts them slowly away from each other. But then, without wind, without storm, the water itself begins to push harder, carrying them farther apart. That is the universe we live in, an ocean of whispers where galaxies are boats set adrift on silent currents. The beauty lies in the subtlety. This is not an explosion, not a loud tearing of space. It is quiet, persistent, almost tender. And in that tenderness lies unimaginable power. a universe guided not by noise but by whispers that shape its destiny. To see such whispers is not easy. It took patient eyes, clever instruments, and the willingness to admit that our understanding was incomplete. But once those whispers were detected, they changed everything. The universe was not slowing down, it was speeding up, guided by the silent power of dark energy, the invisible hand pushing stars apart. Now picture all the stars you've ever seen, the Milky Way stretching above, billions of suns burning across the heavens. What if I told you that all of them are slowly being pushed apart by something unseen? An invisible hand, stronger than gravity, pressing outward, gently but relentlessly. Gravity was once believed to be the master. It pulled matter into stars, stars into galaxies, and galaxies into clusters. But dark energy works against gravity's grip. It is not a pull, but a push, and this push acts everywhere at once, across the entire fabric of space. You cannot touch this hand, you cannot photograph it, yet it leaves undeniable evidence. Stars that should remain closer instead drift farther. Galaxies that should cluster more tightly instead separate. Space itself bends to the will of this invisible force, a quiet rebellion against gravity's ancient rule. It is strange to think that emptiness could have such strength, but dark energy does not live in stars or planets. It lives in the very fabric of space itself. And when space grows, so does dark energy's influence, like a shadow expanding as the light fades. This invisible hand is not only shaping the heavens, it is shaping our fate. Because as it pushes stars apart, it determines what kind of universe we will inherit, one where galaxies drift into solitude and silence becomes the loudest story ever told. A tension woven into cosmic silence. There is a kind of tension that does not need sound to be felt. Imagine walking into a vast hall where no one speaks, yet something hums beneath the silence. That is the universe with dark energy, an endless tension woven invisibly into the cosmic fabric. Everywhere you look, gravity pulls inward, trying to gather stars, planets, and galaxies together. But woven through that pull is a counterforce. Dark energy stretches outward, loosening the bonds, tugging gently but persistently against gravity's embrace. The cosmos is not still. It is caught in a silent tug of war. This tension is not dramatic in the way we might expect. There are no shouts, no clashes, no sparks. Instead, it is measured in the slow drifting of galaxies, the widening of space, the faint stretching of light across unimaginable distances, a war fought with patience, not with speed. Some scientists describe it as negative pressure, a push that comes not from objects but from emptiness itself. That concept alone reshapes the way we see reality. What we once called nothing is actually a force that dominates everything. The silence is not empty, it is active, alive, pressing outward. And so this tension continues, unseen but always present. It is the quiet heartbeat of the universe, a pulse that tells us the cosmos will never stand still. Even silence, it seems, carries weight enough to shape eternity. The mystery scientists stumbled upon. The story of dark energy began with surprise. Scientists were not searching for it. They were measuring distant stars, tracing how the universe expanded, expecting to confirm what they already knew. Instead, they stumbled upon a mystery that rewrote everything. In the late 1990s, two groups of astronomers studied Type I supernovae, exploding stars so bright they could serve as cosmic mile markers. These supernovae should have revealed a universe slowing down under gravity's grip. But instead, they showed the opposite. The universe was not just expanding, it was accelerating. This result shocked the scientific world. The data was clear, yet the explanation was not. What could cause such acceleration? It wasn't gravity, it wasn't matter, it wasn't anything known. So reluctantly, scientists gave it a name: dark energy, a placeholder for a force too mysterious to understand, yet too powerful to deny. It is humbling when reality refuses to fit into our expectations. Imagine looking at a map you thought complete, only to find entire continents missing. That was the feeling in those first moments of discovery. The universe, it turned out, was stranger than anyone had dared to imagine. And so what began as an observation of starlight became the doorway into a deeper mystery. A silent power revealed by accident, yet destined to reshape our understanding of everything. Dark energy was not sought. It found us, hidden in the very silence of the cosmos. A strange acceleration no one expected. When scientists looked deeper into the sky, they thought the expansion of the universe would behave like a ball tossed into the air, slowing gradually, tugged back by gravity. But instead they saw the opposite. The ball didn't slow. It sped up, rising faster, climbing without resistance. A strange acceleration appeared, quiet yet undeniable. This discovery did not fit the textbooks. The numbers refused to bow to expectation. Imagine planting seeds in a garden and watching them sprout into trees overnight. That was the shock. The universe was not obeying its old patterns. Something else, something silent and powerful, was at work. At first, disbelief was natural. How could emptiness create acceleration? How could nothing act like something? Yet the data insisted. Light from distant supernovae carried the story faithfully across billions of years, a story that whispered, "The universe is running ahead of you." That acceleration became more than a curiosity. It became a clue, a signature of dark energy's presence. Like footprints in snow, the galaxies revealed where the invisible traveler had passed. The footprints were everywhere. The universe was not slowing down. It was racing into its future. This strange acceleration, once a shock, is now our greatest key. A cosmic riddle telling us the quiet ruler has been with us all along, hiding in the spaces we once called empty. The ghostly energy hidden in empty space. Empty space is not as empty as it seems. What we once thought of as a void is actually alive with ghostly energy. It does not shine, it does not touch, but it is there, woven into the fabric of existence itself. Think of it like a stage after the actors leave. The theatre feels empty, but the air still carries echoes of the play. Dark energy is that echo, spread through every inch of space. No matter where you look, no matter how far, it is there, silent and persistent. This energy does not need matter to exist. In fact, it thrives without it. It is the strange background hum of the cosmos, a whisper filling every corner, no matter how barren. And because space itself is growing, this ghostly energy grows with it, stretching wider and wider, and its presence is not obvious to our senses. You can't feel it pressing against your skin or see it glowing in the sky. But through telescopes, through measurements of galaxies drifting apart, we sense its invisible breath, a force that hides in plain sight, everywhere and nowhere at once. And so what we once dismissed as nothingness is now the greatest mystery of all. Empty space is not empty, it is the very home of dark energy, ghostly, powerful, and forever hidden from direct touch. Not matter, not light, yet deeply present. Everything we know fits into categories. Matter we can touch, light we can see, but dark energy refuses both. It is not matter, it is not light, yet it shapes the universe more than either of them combined. To call it strange would be an understatement. Imagine attending a gathering where an unseen guest rearranges the chairs, sets the rhythm, decides when the music starts and stops, yet no one ever sees them. That is dark energy, a presence felt but never observed directly. Physics teaches us that forces need carriers, like light carried by photons, or gravity curving through space-time. But dark energy has no such carrier, no neat particle or law that explains it. It simply is a silent governor of expansion operating beyond our current understanding. And yet the effect is undeniable. Matter bends, light travels, but dark energy dictates the stage upon which both unfold. Without it, galaxies might collapse together, the universe might end in fire. With it, they drift into quiet solitude, stars carried away into the depths. So, while it is not matter or light, dark energy is as real as the ground beneath our feet. It is a reminder that the most powerful things need not be visible to exist. A force stronger than gravity's embrace. Gravity is familiar. We feel it every moment, binding us to Earth, holding planets in orbit, stitching galaxies together. But dark energy is stronger still, a quiet force capable of loosening even gravity's grip on the cosmos. Imagine clasping your hands tightly together, only to feel them slowly drift apart without your will. That is what dark energy does to galaxies bound by gravity. It pulls at the fabric itself, not just the objects within it. Gravity resists, but the quiet outward pressure is greater. This realization shook science to its core. For centuries, gravity was considered the king of forces at cosmic scales. It dictated the fates of stars and planets. Yet here was something greater, silent, yet sovereign, unseating gravity from its throne in the grand story of the universe. And the more space grows, the stronger this force becomes. For every pocket of expansion, dark energy fills it, multiplying its influence. It is like a shadow that deepens as the day stretches, a quiet takeover that cannot be stopped. So while gravity binds us close, dark energy unbinds the heavens. A reminder that even kings can be overthrown by powers that move without sound, galaxies drifting farther, like boats without oars. Look into the night sky and you see constellations frozen in patterns. But in truth, those patterns are drifting apart. Galaxies move not because of their own engines, but because the space between them swells, carrying them like boats without oars. Picture a lake expanding beneath two canoes. The canoes do not paddle, yet they drift farther from one another. That is what happens on a cosmic scale. Galaxies are passengers, not pilots, and dark energy is the swelling lake beneath them. Over billions of years, this drift becomes profound. Galaxies that once shared the same cosmic neighborhoods will find themselves isolated. The bonds that held clusters together will loosen. What was once a crowded sky will become a lonelier one, scattered across an ever-growing canvas. This loneliness is not immediate. It unfolds slowly, silently, across spans longer than human imagination. But already we can measure it. Already the boats drift. Already the stars sail outward with no oars, no anchors, no chance of return. And so the image of galaxies as boats adrift captures both the beauty and the sadness. A universe always in motion, carried by currents we cannot see, guided by a force we barely understand. The forgotten clue in starlight's fading glow. Light is a messenger. When it leaves a star, it carries with it a story, a record of where it came from and what it passed through. For billions of years, light has been traveling across the cosmos, and in its fading glow we can trace the fingerprints of dark energy. When astronomers studied ancient starlight, they noticed something strange. The light was stretched, elongated, as though space itself had pulled it apart during the journey. This was not just distance at work. It was expansion. The starlight whispered of a universe growing faster than expected. Imagine a violin string plucked once. Its note stretches through time, fading into silence. If the string itself were lengthening while the sound traveled, the note would deepen, stretch, and shift. That is what the fading glow of starlight tells us. The stage upon which light moves is stretching under its feet. This clue was overlooked for decades. Astronomers measured light, recorded distances, but the deeper story lay hidden in the stretching, the faint, red shift of color. Only when patient eyes returned to the evidence did the full message reveal itself. The glow itself was a record of acceleration. Thus forgotten starlight became our witness. In its fading, in its stretched colors, it carried the voice of dark energy, soft, hidden, yet undeniable. Distant supernovae becoming cosmic signposts. Among the billions of stars, some end their lives with such brilliance they can be seen across galaxies. These explosions, supernovae, shine like cosmic lighthouses, and it was these lighthouses that first pointed humanity toward the reality of dark energy. Type Ia supernovae, in particular, became our guides. They burn with almost the same brightness every time, making them perfect yardsticks to measure cosmic distances. By comparing their brightness to their distance, astronomers could map how the universe was expanding. But as these lighthouses flickered into view, they told a surprising story. They were dimmer than expected, farther than expected, as if carried away by currents stronger than anyone imagined. These signposts pointed not to a slowing universe, but to one accelerating into the unknown. It was humbling. The most violent deaths of stars revealed the quietest secret of the cosmos. In their final blaze, they did not only tell us of matter and light, they revealed the unseen breath of dark energy. The more explosions we measured, the clearer the pattern became. And so supernovae became our cosmic guides. Stars that died billions of years ago now serve as markers on the road, showing us how dark energy quietly steers the destiny of the universe. Light stretched thin across endless night. When light travels across space, it does not remain unchanged. It stretches like a thread pulled across a room. The farther it goes, the thinner it becomes, until its color shifts toward red, whispering the tale of an expanding universe. This stretching is called redshift, and it is one of the strongest voices of dark energy. The light of distant galaxies tells us they are moving away, not because they choose to, but because space itself is growing beneath them. Each photon carries the signature of expansion. Think of a drawing on a balloon. As the balloon inflates, the images drift apart. Light is like that drawing. It stretches, not because it weakens, but because the canvas beneath it expands. And in that stretching lies proof of the universe's acceleration. Astronomers can measure this stretching with precision, turning faint smudges of color into records of motion. The more distant the light, the more stretched it becomes, showing just how powerfully dark energy pushes the cosmos outward. So when we gaze at the night sky, we are not only seeing stars, we are seeing threads stretched across eternity, silent evidence of the invisible force weaving the universe wider and wider. An unseen pressure inflating the void. Imagine the universe as a balloon not filled by air, but by something far stranger. An unseen pressure swells it from within, not evenly, but relentlessly. This pressure is dark energy, a quiet force inflating the very void itself. Physicists describe it as negative pressure. Unlike the push we know from air or water, this pressure does not come from matter. It is embedded in space itself, a property of the vacuum. Instead of collapsing under gravity, The void expands as though it cannot resist growing. To picture it, imagine a fabric that stretches itself without being pulled. It swells not because of outside force, but because it is in its very nature to expand. Dark energy is that nature, that built-in pressure woven into the silence of the cosmos. This unseen pressure explains why galaxies drift farther apart, why stars grow lonelier in the night. It is a quiet inflation everywhere at once, not tied to location, not tied to matter, but written into the very emptiness between things. And so the void is not void, it is alive with pressure, silent and unseen, yet shaping the destiny of everything it surrounds, expansion accelerating like a breath quickening. Expansion has always been part of the universe's story, but in the age of dark energy that expansion quickens, like the breath of someone startled awake. The cosmos inhales faster now, as though racing towards something unseen. At first, scientists thought the breath of expansion would slow, tired by gravity's pull. Instead, the breath has only deepened, accelerating, gaining strength. Each galaxy carried farther, each star adrift on currents beyond its control. A universe quickening, silently, without pause. This quickening is measured not in seconds but in billions of years, yet even in human lifetimes we can see its evidence. Galaxies that once seemed steady are found racing away faster than before. The rhythm of the cosmos has changed, and dark energy is the unseen pulse. It is unsettling to realize that acceleration does not require noise, it does not shout, it does not shake the ground. It whispers in the drifting of galaxies, in the faint stretching of light, in the growing solitude of stars. So the universe quickens its breath, guided by a force we cannot touch. And we small listeners on a tiny planet can only watch, measure, and wonder what destination this breathless expansion will one day reach. A puzzle etched into the fabric of space. The universe is a canvas, and on that canvas, dark energy has drawn a puzzle that refuses to be solved. Every galaxy drifting outward, every beam of stretched light is a piece of that puzzle. Yet when scientists try to put the pieces together, the picture remains incomplete. Equations bend under the weight of this mystery. They balance matter, they balance radiation, they balance gravity. But when dark energy enters, they falter. The math that once explained the cosmos suddenly grows silent. It is as though the puzzle was carved into the very fabric of space, visible but unsolvable. This silence in the equations is humbling. For centuries, humanity believed the cosmos could be tamed by numbers, that with enough patience every law could be written down. But here is something larger, something that does not fit into tidy symbols. It waits, it teases, it resists capture. And yet the puzzle itself is beautiful. It reminds us that mystery is not failure, it is invitation. Every unanswered question is a doorway. And dark energy is perhaps the largest doorway of them all, carved into the very structure of reality. To gaze upon this puzzle is to admit our smallness, and in that smallness there is wonder. The universe is bigger than answers. Sometimes the silence itself is the teacher. Dark energy as the ruler of destiny. The fate of the universe is not written in stars, it is written in silence. Dark energy rules that destiny. For if it continues to grow, galaxies will drift endlessly, stars will burn out in solitude, and the cosmos will fade into a quiet, eternal expansion. This is not a destiny chosen by planets or suns. It is not guided by life or intelligence. It is the consequence of a silent force, present everywhere, patient beyond measure. A ruler that does not wear a crown, yet commands more than all matter combined. Some imagine the universe collapsing one day, folding back upon itself. Others see it as stretching until even atoms are torn apart. Both visions bow to the same ruler, dark energy, for its nature will decide whether eternity is quiet expansion or catastrophic unraveling. To think of destiny in such terms is unsettling, yet there is also comfort in it. The universe is not chaotic, it is guided even if by silence. Its ruler is unseen, but its rule is consistent, written into the expansion we can measure. And so our destiny is tied not to what we build or destroy, but to what whispers in the void. Dark energy carries the future in its hands, shaping tomorrow with every moment of expansion. A cosmos divided between the known and unknown. When you look at the universe, you see galaxies, planets, stars. These are the known, bright, tangible, familiar. But beneath them lies a greater part, the unknown. And in that unknown lies dark energy, silently outweighing everything we can touch. Scientists estimate that all the matter we see, the stars, the planets, the dust, makes up less than 5% of the universe. Another portion, dark matter, adds more. But the majority, nearly 70%, is dark energy. Imagine a world where most of what exists cannot be seen. That is the cosmos we inhabit. This division is humbling. We celebrate our knowledge, yet we live in a universe where the unknown dominates. The galaxies are ornaments, scattered jewels, while the dark backdrop is the true weight, the silent presence. It changes the way we think about reality. We are not explorers who have nearly finished the map. We are children standing at the shoreline of a vast ocean, aware now that the water stretches endlessly beyond sight. Dark energy reminds us that the unknown is not the margin, it is the heart, and so the cosmos is divided. A small slice we can touch, a vast majority we cannot. But in that division lies an invitation to keep searching, to keep listening, to honor both the known and the silence beyond it. Matter and energy locked in silent dialogue. Everywhere in the universe there is a quiet conversation taking place. Matter pulls inward, energy pushes outward, gravity gathers, dark energy disperses. This dialogue shapes galaxies, shapes clusters, shapes the very rhythm of the cosmos. It is not a violent argument, it is a balance, a negotiation, stretched across billions of years. Sometimes matter holds sway, pulling stars into spirals, birthing suns, igniting new light. Other times, dark energy asserts its rule, pulling the fabric wider, undoing gravity's grasp. We live in the middle of this dialogue. Our very existence depends on its balance. If dark energy had spoken louder in the beginning, stars might never have formed. If gravity had pressed harder, the universe might have collapsed. Only in the tension of this quiet conversation did life find a place to bloom. And the dialogue continues. Each galaxy drifting is a word, each cluster dissolving is a phrase. The cosmos itself is the story told between matter and energy, between what we see and what we feel but cannot see. Listening to this dialogue requires patience. It is not spoken in seconds but in epochs. Yet once you hear it, you realize the universe has been whispering to itself all along. The balance, tipping toward the unseen majority. For now, the dialogue between matter and energy is not equal. The balance tips. And it tips toward the unseen, the vast reservoir of dark energy that now commands the fate of the cosmos. Galaxies once held closer by gravity now drift apart faster. Clusters once bound tightly now loosen. The structures that shape the visible universe grow fragile under the quiet pressure of expansion. The unseen majority is no longer passive, it is in control. This tipping is not violent, not sudden. It is gradual, patient, inevitable. Like a scale slowly leaning to one side, the shift reveals itself only over time, and yet once noticed, it cannot be ignored. The balance of power belongs not to matter, but to energy we cannot see. The realization shifts more than science, it shifts philosophy. To know that the greatest part of reality is hidden challenges the way we define knowledge. It forces us to accept humility. It invites us to wonder if what we call truth is only a fragment of something larger. So the balance tips and the unseen majority takes the stage. Dark energy's silence grows louder with every drifting galaxy, with every widening void, until at last it becomes the true architect of the universe's future. Gravity's dream of gathering cut short. Gravity has always been the builder. It gathered dust into stars, stars into galaxies, and galaxies into vast clusters. Its dream was of unity, of drawing everything close. But dark energy is undoing that dream, stretching the bonds that gravity worked for billions of years to weave. Imagine a sculptor shaping clay, only to find the clay itself expanding under their hands. No matter how tightly the sculptor presses, the shape refuses to hold. That is what gravity faces, a quiet resistance in the fabric itself, a refusal to stay bound. Clusters that once grew denser now thin, galaxies once entangled drift apart. Even the great walls of galaxies, those cosmic tapestries spanning billions of light years, feel the pull of separation. Gravity holds on, but its grip loosens, finger by finger, against the silent push of dark energy. This is not destruction, but transformation. Gravity's dream is not ended with a crash, it is ended with a drift. Slowly, patiently, without sound, the gathering gives way to scattering. The universe, once imagined as a great circle, now becomes an endless expansion. And so the sculptor's dream fades. Gravity's work remains in stars and planets, but the larger story now belongs to the silence that stretches everything apart. Galaxies escaping each other's pull. Look up at the night sky and see the Milky Way arched above. For now, it shines beside its neighbors, the Andromeda Galaxy, the Magellanic Clouds, countless companions. But already galaxies are drifting from one another, escaping each other's pull, carried by invisible currents. The universe is like a great city where the buildings slowly move away. Streets widen, neighborhoods scatter, and what once felt connected becomes distant. Galaxies, too, lose their neighborhoods, slipping free of each other's gravity as dark energy swells the spaces between. This escape is not fast enough for human eyes to notice in a lifetime. But over billions of years, it changes everything. Where once the sky was crowded with galaxies, the future sky may appear empty, each island of stars lost in its own solitude. Even our own galaxy will not escape this fate. Though destined to merge with Andromeda first, together they too will drift into deeper isolation. Their cluster companions will fade from view, leaving only darkness around them. The pull of neighbors will no longer matter when the sea beneath them swells without end. Galaxies escaping is not chaos, it is the quiet choreography of dark energy, a dance where every partner drifts farther until the hall itself grows so vast that each dancer moves alone, a sky that will grow emptier with time. The night sky feels eternal, filled with stars and galaxies, but it will not always be so. Already the emptiness grows. Already the sky prepares for its future, an emptier, lonelier canvas where galaxies slip beyond sight forever. Our telescopes now capture thousands of galaxies in every direction, but as dark energy drives expansion faster, many of those galaxies will cross a horizon from which their light can never reach us. They will not vanish in themselves, but to us, they will fade, gone beyond the reach of sight. Imagine standing on a shore, watching ships drift away. At first, you see their sails, then only as specks, then only the memory of where they once were, until finally they disappear into the horizon. The sky will become such a shore, where galaxies once seen become invisible, carried too far by expansion. This does not happen suddenly. It is the patient work of time, of trillions of years. But the direction is clear. The universe will grow emptier to our eyes, as though hiding its treasures behind curtains of silence. The light that once connected us to distant galaxies will no longer arrive, and so the sky itself changes, not by losing stars, but by losing access to them. A reminder that what we see is never all that exists, and what we love may one day slip quietly beyond reach. Cosmic loneliness as destiny unfolds. Loneliness is not only a human feeling. The universe itself will know it, for as galaxies drift apart and the sky grows emptier, cosmic loneliness becomes destiny. A future where each island of stars lives isolated, without neighbors to share the void. The word loneliness carries weight because it is felt slowly in absence, and the cosmos will feel it in the same way, clusters dissolving, horizons widening, companions fading into silence. Each galaxy, no matter how vast, will become a solitary traveler in an ocean without landmark. Our Milky Way, joined one day with Andromeda, will shine on for billions of years, but beyond, the lights of other galaxies will fade away. Future astronomers, should any exist, may look to the sky and see only their own galaxy, unaware of the vastness that once was. This destiny is not cruel, only quiet. The universe is not ending in fire, but in solitude, a place where silence stretches farther than light, and where each cluster is left alone to burn out its stars in the stillness of time. Cosmic loneliness reminds us of something deeply human. That connection is precious, for in the grandest scale, even the universe itself must surrender to separation. Stars born now fated to die alone. Every star carries a story. Some are being born right now in clouds of gas, igniting for the first time. They shine with brilliance, unaware that they are already fated to die alone. For dark energy ensures that the galaxies around them will drift away, leaving only silence at their end. In the distant past, stars were born into crowded skies, with galaxies close, clusters vibrant, light plentiful. But the stars born in this age, and those yet to come, will live in a universe already thinning. Their light will stretch outward, but fewer neighbors will see it. Picture a lighthouse on a cliff. It shines bravely, but the ships that once passed nearby no longer sail those waters. The star continues its duty, but its audience fades into emptiness. That will be the fate of stars, burning brightly into a universe that has grown distant. Even the most massive stars, whose lives burn fast and end in grand explosions, will not escape this destiny. Their light will cross the void, but in time, the void itself will be too wide to carry their brilliance to others. Their story ends in solitude. So the stars born now and the stars to come shine against a backdrop of separation. Their beauty is not diminished, but their audience grows smaller, until at last they shine only for themselves in the endless silence, a universe where silence deepens forever. Silence is not only the absence of sound, it is the widening of space itself. As dark energy stretches the cosmos, the silence deepens. Galaxies grow farther, light grows thinner, and the conversations between stars fade into nothingness. The universe itself becomes a cathedral of silence. At first, this silence is not obvious. We still see countless stars, hear the echoes of cosmic background radiation, measure the hum of galaxies. But the farther into time we drift, the deeper the hush becomes. What once seemed vibrant with voices will fall quiet, one by one. Imagine sitting in a hall where thousands are speaking, then slowly voices drop away. One corner falls silent, then another. Soon only whispers remain, until at last only one voice lingers. The cosmos follows this pattern. The silence spreads, deepening, leaving only isolated lights to speak for themselves. This deepening silence is not emptiness, it is change. It is the natural rhythm of a universe guided by dark energy, a reminder that expansion does not only move matter, it reshapes meaning. What is connected now will one day be alone. And so the silence grows, not in suddenness, but in inevitability, a quiet deeper than space written across the eternity ahead. The haunting possibility of eternal expansion. Eternity is difficult to imagine. Yet dark energy suggests a haunting possibility that the universe may expand forever, never slowing, never stopping, only stretching without end. A cosmic breath that never exhales, only inhales, growing wider for all time. In this vision, galaxies drift until they are invisible. Stars burn until they fade. Eventually, the night sky would become black, not because stars no longer exist, but because their light can never reach us. An eternity of expansion, leaving islands of light stranded in an infinite sea. This future is haunting because it is so quiet. No grand collapse, no violent ending, just endless drifting, endless stretching, endless solitude. The universe would not end with a bang, but with the deep stillness of separation, each star singing alone into an unreachable night. Scientists call this the heat death scenario, where energy spreads so thin across infinite space that nothing new can form, nothing new can shine. A haunting silence where creation itself ceases, replaced only by expansion. And yet, even in this possibility, there is awe. To think that the universe could stretch forever is to realize just how vast the unknown truly is. Eternity itself may be woven into the silent breath of dark energy, or a sudden tearing of all bonds. But eternal expansion is only one path. Some theories whisper of another fate, more violent, more sudden, the tearing apart of all bonds. If dark energy grows stronger with time, the very fabric of space could rip everything apart, atom by atom. This idea is called the Big Rip. Imagine galaxies torn from each other, stars ripped from galaxies, planets from stars, and finally atoms themselves unbound as space stretches too fast to hold them together. A tearing not of explosions but of expansion itself, accelerating beyond control. It is a chilling vision, yet it emerges naturally from the same force we measure today. If dark energy is not constant but growing, then what begins as a gentle push could one day become unstoppable, dissolving all structure in its path. Picture a thread pulled slowly until it snaps. The cosmos too may face such tension. Every bond, no matter how strong, is woven into space. And if space itself betrays them, nothing can endure. Though uncertain, this possibility reminds us of the power hidden in silence. Expansion can be gentle, but it may also carry the strength to tear apart the very atoms of existence. Dark energy's fate entwined with every atom. It is easy to think of dark energy as something far away, acting only on galaxies drifting in the void, but its fate is tied to every atom, every particle, every heartbeat. For if space itself expands, then nothing is untouched. Your body, this room, this planet, each is built upon atoms, and atoms themselves are bound by forces. If dark energy grows, those forces may one day be challenged. The bonds that hold particles together could weaken, stretched thin like galaxies are today. This may never happen, or it may take trillions of years. Yet the possibility lingers, a reminder that we are not separate from the cosmos. The same silent power that stretches the heavens also hums through the emptiness between the particles in our bodies. To know this is humbling. We often believe we live apart from cosmic forces, that gravity and expansion belong only to galaxies. But in truth, dark energy speaks through every atom, weaving its destiny into even the smallest corner of existence. So the fate of atoms, the fate of stars, the fate of the universe, they are all entwined in the same silent thread, stretched by dark energy's unseen hand. Even our solar system caught in the tide. It feels safe to think of our solar system as steady. The sun rises, the planets orbit, the dance continues unchanged. But even here, in our small corner, dark energy's tide flows, subtle, slow, yet inescapable. For now, gravity holds our solar system tight. The sun's pull binds Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and all the rest in their elegant orbits. But as space itself expands, the great tide of dark energy stretches even this stability. Over unimaginable spans, the bonds may weaken. Think of a tiny boat tied securely to a dock while the sea rises. The rope holds for now, but the tide never stops. Slowly, inevitably, the water swells higher, and one day the rope may snap. That is the quiet threat of expansion. Even the solar system is not beyond its reach. Of course, this would take longer than the sun's own lifetime. Long before dark energy unravels our solar bonds, the sun itself will fade. Yet the thought lingers, that even our most intimate home is adrift on the same cosmic tide, carried with all galaxies into widening silence. Dark energy does not choose. It does not favor stars or planets. Its tide flows everywhere, patient and impartial, and we, like all things, are carried by its silent current, the smallest vacuum humming with hidden power. What if I told you that even the tiniest vacuum, the space between particles in your hand, is not truly empty? Physics whispers that even here, in the smallest gaps, energy hums silently. A faint vibration, invisible yet persistent, woven into what we call nothingness. Scientists once believed a vacuum meant emptiness, a stage stripped of everything, but deeper measurements showed otherwise. Virtual particles flicker in and out of existence. Energy fields ripple even where no matter rests. The smallest vacuum, it seems, is alive with power that refuses to vanish. This hidden hum may be the very origin of dark energy. If emptiness itself holds energy, then on the scale of the universe, that hum becomes overwhelming. What seems tiny in a lab becomes mighty across cosmic distances, pushing galaxies apart with a whisper that never ends. It is strange to think the most silent space is also the most active. What we thought was dead void is in truth alive, restless, humming with ghostly power. The vacuum is not absence. It is a hidden orchestra playing a song too quiet for our ears, yet strong enough to move the stars. So even the smallest vacuum, the tiniest silence, may hold the secret to the greatest force in existence, a hum that shapes the cosmos even when we cannot hear it, quantum whispers adding up to cosmic force. At the quantum level, reality is never still. Particles flicker, waves ripple, fields hum with energy that appears and vanishes in an instant. Alone, these whispers seem meaningless, but when added together across the vastness of space, they may become the very force that drives cosmic expansion. Think of raindrops falling quietly on a roof. One drop is small, hardly noticed, but millions together create a rhythm that fills the air. Quantum whispers are like that, tiny fluctuations in energy that, summed across the universe, create a pressure strong enough to push galaxies apart. This idea, sometimes called the vacuum energy, suggests that the universe is powered by countless invisible voices. Each whisper is fleeting, but together they shape destiny. The cosmos is not moved by roaring storms, but by the soft persistence of whispers, layered upon whispers. It is both comforting and unsettling. Comforting because it reminds us that even the smallest things matter. Unsettling because it suggests that the very laws of physics may emerge from a sea of uncertainty where silence itself is restless. And so what begins as quantum whispers may end as cosmic force, tiny fluctuations becoming the silent ruler of galaxies, proving that power does not always roar, it often whispers, space itself as an ocean of energy. Imagine standing on a cliff above an endless ocean. The waves stretch beyond sight, their rhythm slow, patient, unstoppable. Now replace water with space itself, and you glimpse what dark energy may be, an ocean of invisible force, swelling and stretching without end. This ocean is not made of matter, it does not shimmer like starlight. Instead, it exists in the very fabric of reality. Every galaxy, every star, every atom floats upon it. And just as ships are carried by tides, so too are galaxies carried by this unseen sea. The ocean of space is not still. It swells, it stretches, it expands, and with each moment, the galaxies drift farther as though borne upon invisible currents. This is not an ocean we can swim or sail. It is an ocean that contains us, that defines the very ground we stand on. The image of space as an ocean gives shape to what is otherwise abstract. It reminds us that we are not outside of this force, watching from safety. We are passengers on its waves, bound to its rhythms, unable to step off the tide. So when we think of dark energy, we might imagine the ocean beneath our feet, silent, invisible, yet carrying all of existence upon its endless swell. Waves that cannot be seen but press on us. Waves usually reveal themselves through sound, through motion, through the spray of water or the crash of surf. But there are waves in the universe that press without being seen, that move without being heard. Dark energy may ripple like this. Waves of expansion pressing on galaxies, pressing even on us. We do not feel them directly. Our skin does not shiver, our bones do not bend, yet the evidence is clear. Galaxies respond, they drift, their light stretches, their clusters loosen. Something presses everywhere, always, though no wave ever touches us in the ordinary sense. Think of wind you cannot feel, yet see in the bending of grass, or of music too low to hear, yet strong enough to shake a window pane. The cosmos reveals the invisible waves through their effects, not their presence. We know the press because the galaxies answer to it. This kind of pressure is humbling. It means we live not in a still universe, but in one bathed by forces that never rest. Even silence presses, even emptiness moves. The waves we cannot see are as real as the ocean tides, just slower, just grander, stretched across eternity. So the next time you think of stillness, imagine it alive with invisible waves pressing softly but endlessly. That is the touch of dark energy, felt not in moments, but in the fate of galaxies. A riddle beyond the grasp of equations. Equations are our way of taming the universe, of putting infinity into symbols on a page. But dark energy resists. Every attempt to capture it in neat formulas ends in contradiction. The numbers rebel, leaving a riddle that remains unsolved. Physicists call this the cosmological constant problem. When they calculate the energy of empty space from quantum theory, the answer is staggeringly huge, far too large to match the universe we see. Yet when they look at the sky, the effect of dark energy is far smaller, gentler. Two answers, both wrong, both irreconcilable. It is like measuring a river and finding one instrument says it is a trickle, another says it is a flood. Which do you believe when both are precise, yet both cannot be right? The riddle grows deeper the more carefully we measure, the more honestly we look. This puzzle is not failure, it is evidence that our understanding is incomplete. that the universe is whispering truths we have not yet learned to hear. Equations stumble not because reality is wrong, but because reality is greater than the symbols we use to describe it. So dark energy remains a riddle, patient and unsolved. And perhaps the beauty lies in that, the reminder that the cosmos is not obliged to fit our understanding, but to astonish it. Scientists humbled by nature's secrecy. For centuries, science has been a steady march of victories, discoveries that explain the stars, the atoms, the forces that bind us. But dark energy has humbled even the brightest minds. It stands as a reminder that nature always keeps secrets beyond our grasp. When astronomers first faced the evidence of accelerating expansion, many resisted. Could the instruments be wrong? Could the light be misread? But the more they measured, the clearer it became. The universe was not behaving as expected. Knowledge had to bow before mystery. This humility is not defeat, it is renewal. Each unanswered question is a chance to grow, to imagine beyond old boundaries. Dark energy humbles us by showing how small we are, but also how vast our capacity for wonder remains. A mystery is not a wall, it is a horizon. Even the greatest theories, like Einstein's, were shaken. His equations included a cosmological constant, once dismissed as a mistake, now resurrected as a clue. What was once called an error may, in fact, hold the seed of truth. Such is the humility of science, forever revising, forever learning. Dark energy teaches us that the universe is not a puzzle to be solved once, but a conversation to be continued forever. And in that humility there is beauty. The longing to measure what refuses to be held. There is a deep longing in science, the desire to measure, to touch, to hold the truth in our hands. But dark energy refuses. It cannot be trapped in a vial, cannot be weighed on a scale. It is everywhere, yet nowhere we can grasp. Telescopes strain to catch its traces, equations stretch to describe it. Satellites circle Earth, staring into the heavens for whispers of its presence, and still it slips through fingers like smoke, reminding us that not everything bends to our will. This longing is human. We crave certainty, numbers, answers. But the universe reminds us that some truths live in shadows, not in charts. Dark energy resists being reduced, demanding we accept wonder alongside calculation. It is like chasing a horizon. Each step brings us closer, yet the line of sky and earth always retreats. Dark energy is that horizon, always ahead, always just beyond the reach of direct proof, yet shaping everything we see. Perhaps the longing itself is the gift. To measure what refuses to be held is to stay curious, to keep walking, to never surrender to the illusion that we already know enough. Instruments stretching to hear silence itself. How do you listen for something that does not speak? This is the task of our instruments. They do not listen for sound or light, but for silence itself, the faint stretch of space, the slow drift of galaxies, the whispers of the void. Great telescopes map the red shift of distant galaxies. Satellites scan the cosmic microwave background, looking for the fingerprints of expansion. Detectors on Earth analyze supernovae like ancient echoes, hoping to hear the voice of dark energy hidden in the silence. The instruments themselves are marvels of patience. They are not built to capture quick flashes, but slow trends, subtle changes across decades. They are like sages watching the horizon, noting how the stars shift, how the light bends, how the silence deepens. And yet, even the most advanced tools admit their limits. They can hint, they can suggest, but they cannot yet reveal the full truth. The silence remains partly hidden, teasing us with just enough to keep searching. Instruments stretch, scientists strain, but silence does not break. Still, in the act of listening itself, we find meaning. To build machines that listen for the unseen is to honor the mystery that defines us. Satellites mapping shadows of the invisible. High above Earth, satellites drift quietly, their mirrors pointed outward. They are our eyes in the dark, mapping not what can be seen, but the shadows cast by what cannot. Dark energy leaves no direct trace, but satellites can follow the outlines it draws across the sky. By measuring the faint glow of the cosmic microwave background, satellites like WMAP and Planck have traced the universe's earliest whispers. Those ripples in ancient light reveal how matter clumped, how galaxies formed, and how dark energy shaped the expansion ever since. The maps they return are strange portraits, not images of galaxies, but patterns of heat and cold, slight variations in the sky that betray the presence of invisible forces. Like footprints in sand, the shadows reveal the traveler, even if the traveler remains unseen. From these maps we learn not only where matter lies, but how much energy pushes against it. The shadows confirm what supernovae suggested. The universe is dominated by dark energy, invisible yet inescapable. Its handprints mark the heavens. So the satellites keep drifting, keep mapping, sketching the invisible with quiet patience. Each shadow they trace is a reminder that even the unseen leaves echoes strong enough to draw, the patience of decades seeking a whisper. Science is not always about quick answers. Some discoveries require decades of patience, of listening for whispers that may take a lifetime to hear. Dark energy is such a whisper. Its voice is so faint, its effects so slow that only patience can reveal it. Generations of astronomers have watched the sky, each adding their notes, their data, their careful observations. Alone, their work seems small. Together, across decades, the whisper emerges, the faint melody of a universe stretching wider with time. This patience is itself a kind of faith, not blind belief, but trust that the universe will reveal itself in time, that silence can be measured, that whispers can be heard, if we only wait long enough, look carefully enough. The story of dark energy is not one discovery, but a chain of patience. From the first puzzling supernovae to the maps of ancient light to the instruments still circling Earth, each link is part of a slow, deliberate journey into silence. So when we speak of dark energy, we speak not only of mystery, but of patience. A whisper measured over lifetimes, reminding us that truth often requires waiting longer than we first imagine. Dark energy as a storyteller of the future. The future of the universe is not written in stone, it is written in silence. And dark energy is the storyteller shaping every page ahead. With each drifting galaxy, with each stretch of space, it whispers the chapters of what is to come. Unlike human storytellers, dark energy does not speak in words, it speaks in motion, in the way clusters unravel, in the way stars grow isolated, in the way the night sky shifts slowly, quietly. The story is told not in days, but in billions of years. We do not yet know the ending. Perhaps the story is of eternal expansion, a universe widening without end. Perhaps it is of a great tearing, every bond undone, or perhaps something unexpected, something beyond imagination. Whatever the ending, it will be written in the hand of dark energy. To call it a storyteller is to recognize its role. It does not just exist, it guides, it shapes, it narrates. Every galaxy is a character in its tale, every star a sentence, every light beam a line stretched across eternity. The universe itself is the book, and dark energy the invisible ink. So as we look into the sky, we are not just seeing stars, we are reading a story in progress, one told in silence by the quiet ruler of the cosmos. Galaxies speaking in slow, drifting languages. Every galaxy drifts, every cluster shifts. And in that drifting there is language, not words, not sounds, but motion. The language of galaxies is written in their separation, in the slow widening that dark energy orchestrates across the heavens. Imagine a conversation spoken in gestures rather than speech. Two dancers drift apart across a stage, their distance itself becoming the message. That is how galaxies speak. Their slow retreat tells us of the force guiding them, the unseen current beneath their feet. Astronomers have learned to read this language by charting the positions of galaxies, by measuring their redshifts. They translate the silent tongue of the cosmos. Each galaxy whispers the same phrase, "We are carried away." Together their chorus becomes undeniable. It is a language too slow for our eyes, too vast for our lifetimes, but when seen across billions of years, it is eloquent. The drifting itself is poetry, the separation itself a sentence written in cosmic grammar. Dark energy is the author, galaxies the words, the sky the page. So the next time you gaze upward, imagine galaxies as speakers in a silent tongue. Their drifting is not meaningless, it is a language telling us the story of expansion we are still learning to translate. The night sky as a diary of expansion. When you look into the night, you are reading a diary. Each point of light is an entry. Each stretched beam of starlight a note written billions of years ago. The diary does not lie. It tells of a universe that has always been expanding and now expands faster still. Unlike human diaries, this one is not written in ink, but in light. Every galaxy records its distance, every star records its fading, every cluster records its drifting. Together these entries form a diary that spans the entire cosmos, patient and unbroken. What makes this diary remarkable is its honesty. It hides nothing. Light cannot disguise the redshift, cannot conceal the stretching. It carries the truth faithfully across space, no matter how far it travels. In every page, we read the fingerprints of dark energy. The diary is vast, too vast for one lifetime to read. Generations pass the book along, each adding new pages, new translations, new understanding. From ancient astronomers who first traced constellations to modern scientists mapping cosmic expansion, we are all readers of the same diary. And the diary is still being written. Each night sky we see is not the final chapter, but a living page where expansion continues and silence deepens. The universe writes, and we listen. Human eyes watching, unable to blink. For thousands of years, humans have lifted their eyes to the sky. We have watched patiently, unable to blink, unable to turn away from the wonder above us. And now, in the age of dark energy, our watching has taken on new depth. We watch not only for beauty, but for answers. The drifting galaxies, the fading light, the emptying clusters, all become signals, clues to the silent force shaping everything. Our eyes may be small, but through telescopes we see farther than ever, reading the invisible with stubborn patience. There is something deeply human in this gaze. Other animals live beneath the same stars, but only we wonder why they drift. Only we measure, calculate, dream of what it means. Our eyes are not passive. They are instruments of curiosity, of longing, of awe. Even when the answers are incomplete, the watching itself matters. To gaze at the cosmos is to remember our place within it, to feel both small and infinite at once. We cannot blink, for the story is too captivating, too vast to look away. And so, human eyes remain fixed on the heavens. Not because we expect to own the answers, but because we are compelled to wonder. Watching is itself a kind of worship, a way of honoring the silence that rules the cosmos. The silence louder than any supernova. Supernovae are among the loudest events in the universe. Their light outshines galaxies, their shockwaves ripple across space. Yet even these explosions are quiet compared to the silence of dark energy. For while a supernova blazes briefly, dark energy rules eternally. This silence is not absence, it is presence. It stretches galaxies, reshapes the sky, dictates the future. It does not need noise to be powerful. It works invisibly, endlessly, louder than any explosion because it never ends. Imagine standing in a crowded room where one voice speaks softly but never stops while others shout and fade away. Over time, the quiet voice is the one you remember, the one that shapes the room. Dark energy is that quiet voice, louder in persistence than in volume. Supernovae mark moments, brief climaxes in the story of stars, but dark energy is the background, the unbroken rhythm, the silence that outlasts every blaze. It is the thread tying all stories together, whether galaxies burn bright or fade to embers. So while the explosions catch our eyes, it is the silence that commands our future. Louder than fire, louder than light, louder than anything else, because it speaks forever.